KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, July the 19th, 2021. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air, of course, here in San Juan County, New Mexico, 103.3 FM if you're listening in Durango, Colorado, and streaming everywhere from our website at ksje.com. Glad you're with us this morning, everybody. Welcome also to our visual radio viewers today. They are joining us live by watching the live video stream on the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. Glad you're here with us as well, everyone, because coming up in the next few moments, a very special treat. It is the end of a summer class I've been teaching in public speaking here at San Juan College, and so we'll be joined by my honor students from that class this morning. 3 of them have prepared some honor speeches for us, so that is coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. We're glad you're with us to hear that in the next few moments. Then, of course, later on this hour at 8:50 a.m., I'll be joined by Lewis Campbell from Synergy Computer Systems here in Farmington. Lewis will be talking with me about technology that's been in the news over the past week, so that is coming up in the next few moments as well this hour, KSJE. Next hour, we'll go roving with the arts. Our classical music program, Mick Hess, is going to be featuring more string quartets from Haydn this morning on the program. You'll hear that after the news at 9 a.m. this morning on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, when you talk about social media, we'd love for you to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and check out our Instagram page as well. Outside our studios here at San Juan College this morning, the temperature is 67 degrees. We are expecting a partly sunny day today. There is still a chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the forecast for the next several days, actually all week long. 92 for a high this afternoon in Farmington, 71 overnight tonight, 92 again tomorrow, and on Wednesday with overnight lows in the upper 60s. We'll see a high on Thursday of 87 degrees, 86 on Friday, maybe 87 on Saturday, and 85 on Sunday. Still a chance of a afternoon thunderstorm popping up somewhere in the listening area. So be aware of weather conditions. The rain could be heavy at times. Well, let's talk to my guests this morning, who, as I mentioned, are with me, and they are part of my honors class here at San Juan College. We're going to get things ready to go as I set up our Zoom call. They're all joining me by Zoom. They've been dealing with that all semester long as we had a virtual class, but they have got some speeches prepared for us, and so we will go to them. And Courtney Jimenez is our first student that we're going to hear from. So, Courtney, good morning. Thank you for joining us, and we'll get you all set up here, ready to go, all right?
Okay.
Very good.
There we go. Can you see my PowerPoint?
We sure can. We can see the PowerPoint and we can see you. So whenever you're ready.
All right. My name is Courtney Jimenez, and I just want you for a second to think about your top 10 favorite places to be. I can about guarantee you the doctor's office is not one of them. Probably not even in your top 100. But what would happen if you got your favorite candy bar every time you came in? Probably wouldn't make it to the top 100, but it might make it off the bottom. When you think about going to the vet clinic, you also probably think about those similar stresses. It's a stressful environment, your dog's probably a little scared, or your cat is scared. There's a lot going on, there's people, there's all sorts of things going on. And that's going to be amplified because now your dog's a little bit more stressed too. So with all that being said, there are ways that we can make the clinics a lot less stressful of a place. There's recently been an organization kind of developed and really pushed forward called Fear Free. I am actually a Fear Free certified individual, and I have been a technician, working as a technician in the Army for 7 years. And so I've worked in a couple of different clinics, and I've gotten to see the benefits of fear-free practice. I did not know what it is at first. And since it's kind of a new program, I thought I'd just talk about it for a few minutes. So that way, when you see that logo or you hear that term, maybe you can kind of have an idea of what they're talking about. So the goal of Fear-Free is really their motto. It's taking the pet out of petrified. The goal is that way when you go into the vet clinic, it's not the worst place for you. Your animal's not thinking it's the worst place in the world. They're thinking it's just as good as the dog park. Now, it takes a little bit of time to get that excited to the point where a vet clinic is equal to a dog park, but it can be done. It does take a little bit of dedication, and it does take a lot of handling and just general kind of care, but it's definitely something that can be achieved. And overall, if you can just get your pet to the point where he's just a little bit less scared, that always is better for everybody involved, because if your pet's less stressed, then you're going to be less stressed too. So one of the big things that Fear-Free does is it talks about this stress and how to identify stress. So they use FAS, or Fear, Anxiety, Stress scores, to kind of help look at that. So they have a lot of different charts, and this is just kind of a basic one. And you can see down at the bottom, there's both a dog and a cat that are pretty relaxed and just hanging out. And as the pictures of the animals increase up the screen, the level of stress and the behavioral signs increase up the screen. So it's not just for veterinary staff to know what the fear and what those stress signs are. It's also for owners. It's really important to know when your animal is starting to get overwhelmed, because they will exhibit signs. And you can use those signs and you can condition them to want to be in those areas, or you can condition them that it's going to be okay if you can catch it before they're super, super scared. So that's what a lot of the fear and FAS scores kind of encompass, is educating both the owner and clinics on what to do. So next, kind of just looking at like, well, what does that mean inside of a clinic? Well, for cats, a lot of that means is just doing a lot of minimal handling, lots of towels, using pheromones, having them come in hungry so that they give treats. It wouldn't, if your vet asks you to bring your kitty cat in hungry, it's really because we want them nice, we want them like thinking that we're pretty good because now we're offering them food because their stomachs are hungry. And we can get them eating some squeeze cheese, and then we can pop some vaccines in, and then everybody's happy because they're getting fed a candy bar, and we don't have to wrestle them, because nobody really wants to wrestle any type of animal. We want to make sure that it's as calm for us as it can be for them. So if you see that for kitty cats, that's typically what you're going to also experience inside of a clinic. And then for dogs, a lot of what we want to see in fear-free practice is just a dog that's willing to do things with minimal restraint. If your dog knows how to sit, that's great for us, because in the clinic they can be asked to sit, and then that's something that they can always go back to, and they have an understanding for that training. So the more we can do with less people involved and less like holding an animal down, the less stressful it is for the pet, the less stressful it is for the owner, and the less stressful it is for the clinic, because nobody wants to see 3 people laying on top of their dog because their dog is scared. Everybody wants to see their dog just laying there nice and calm, and their nails getting trimmed or the vaccines getting done while it's getting fed peanut butter up by its nose, because then that's a lot less stressful than 3 people laying on them to try to get the vaccines in there. And I've personally had experience with both types of clinics, and it is far less stressful for owners, it's far less stressful for the pets, and it's far less stressful for staff if we can have animals that just lay down, hang out with us, and we can just move really slowly and do it at the animal's pace while identifying those signs. So finally, why do we want to avoid stress so much? There are a lot of effects that stress can have. And part of it is just that animals, when they get scared, they don't want to be sick. If they're sick, then they're going to be the weakling. They're going to be the one that could potentially be picked off. So they'll hide signs. Your dog may be limping at home, but you bring him to the vet clinic and he's no longer limping. Well, he might be hiding it because he's scared. And so just reducing that stress level can kind of help make easier diagnoses and more correct diagnoses. It also, there's things called stress leukograms, which means that the neutrophils will sometimes increase when animals are stressed, but it also could increase if there's an infection. So things like that could askew blood work a little bit and make it a little bit harder to identify, is there actually something going on, or was this animal just really stressed? Both of those are possible. And then finally, the other big thing is it will delay wound healing. Anytime you come to the vet clinic, you're probably going to have a little wound or something like that going on. And we want animals to heal up and be as happy as fast as possible. So if an animal is very stressed, that actually delays the wound healing. It delays, they don't want to eat. And so there's a lot of negative effects to stress. So in all, if you see that fear-free logo on either a technician or a vet or a clinic, it's just because they're all about trying to make it less stressful for you, less stressful for the animal, and just in general try to make it a more positive experience for everybody. So that's what I have about fear-free. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Courtney. Appreciate it very much. Courtney Jimenez, one of my public speaking honor students, presenting her honor speech for us this morning with me on KSJE. Thank you very much. We'll go next to Josh Snook. Josh, are you ready to go this morning with your honors presentation?
I believe so.
All right. Very good. We will get you set up here. All right. We can see you. We can see your screen. So whenever you are ready.
Okay. When asked what the deadliest creature on the planet is, most people would say humans. This, however, is not true. In fact, humans are only number 2. The deadliest creature kills trillions every single day. 40% of all life in the oceans is killed by number 1 every single day. You should not be scared, however, because the deadliest creature, bacteriophages, don't attack humans. The only thing that should be scared are the trillions of bacteria that they prey on. The Western world is about to face the repercussions of its overuse of antibiotics, and millions of people, including possibly you, will be caught in the crossfire. So, I've spent the last few weeks researching this topic in order to inform you about bacteriophages, the world's most efficient killer, could be humanity's only hope for the future. One of the big problems that is going to challenge humanity in the near future is that of antibiotic resistance. Antibiotics are substances that kill invasive bacteria, and they are heavily used today. The problem is that bacteria can become resistant to antibiotics. As can be seen in the bottom right infographic, 80% of all antibiotics are given to livestock to help them grow, and 50% of all antibiotics given to humans are not necessary or are used inappropriately. Both of these factors lead to bacteria being grown that will infect humans that cannot be treated. According to an article by the World Health Organization, deaths from antibiotic resistance could rise to 10 million annually by 2050. For context, 4.1 million people have currently died from COVID-19. Further context can be seen in the top right diagram that shows in blue how road traffic accidents have killed 1.2 million people this year, how diabetes has killed 1.5 million, cancer has killed 8.2 million people this year, but it can be seen in purple how antibiotic resistance, or AMRs, could possibly kill 10 million people a year by 2050. The spread of the deaths can be seen in the map on the bottom left, showing how only 317,000 people will die in North America, but 4.15 million will die in Africa, and 4.73 million will die in Asia, the 2 poorest demographics. According to an article by the World Bank from 2016 that can be seen up in the upper left, antimicrobial resistance could increase global healthcare costs by more than $1 trillion per year by 2050. While that might frighten you, some believe there to be a solution. That's where bacteriophages come in. A bacteriophage is a type of virus that only kills certain bacteria. They are the most populous form of life on the planet. They coat all but the most sanitary of surfaces. Their structure can be seen in the upper left and in the rightmost diagram, with the upper left showing their how they actually look, although colorized, and with the right showing their structure, with their genetic material, typically DNA or RNA, in the upper shell, with right below that there being whiskers that help it move through fluids. Underneath there being a tail tube and the tail tube spike, which work like a syringe to inject the genetic material into any bacteria that they are attacking, and the short tail fibers on the tail tube that helps it to attach to the bacterium. According to an article from PubMed Central, there are an estimated 10 to the 31th power phages in the world. That equates to about 1 trillion phages for every grain of sand on Earth. That can be seen in the bottom left graph, where the blue phages, or bacteriophages, are compared to the pink group, which is every other living thing on Earth. So, you are probably wondering how bacteriophages that have already existed could help us now. The answer, according to some scientists, is to inject them. While it might seem a little counterintuitive to inject billions of viruses into your bloodstream, it actually makes a little more sense than you might expect. In a video produced by the educational YouTube channel Corkazart in a Nutshell, they related antibiotics to carpet bombing, as can be seen in the top left frame, where the antibiotics kill both the pink bad bacteria, but also all of the good blue bacteria. They also relate bacteriophages to targeted missiles, like can be seen in the top right, where it only kills the pink bad bacteria, but it leaves all the blue good bacteria unharmed. This is because antibiotics kill all bacteria, but phages only kill certain bacteria. This can also be seen in the bottom two frames, where the bacterium is being attacked by several bacteriophages that will inject their genetic material in order to reproduce inside of the cell, to eventually making the bacteria explode. But it ignores the human cell on the left because it can't inject itself into a human cell. In conclusion, antibiotic resistance is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. Bacteriophages are small viruses that kill bacteria, and many scientists think that injecting bacteriophages into our bodies is the solution. So, while it might be years before this science becomes a reality, and while I can be pretty sure that none of the audience is an FDA regulator, it is interesting to learn about the creature that kills trillions and could save millions.
Very good. Josh, thank you very much. Josh Snook, one of my honor students, presenting his honor speech for us this morning on KSJE, and Summer Stevenson is next. Summer, we'll go to you and let you get all set up and ready to present your speech for us, okay?
Okay, stop. Can you see my screen?
It is starting up right now. Yes, we can. I don't know if we can see you yet. There you are. There you are. All right, we're ready when you are, okay?
Okay. Cool. So, when you woke up this morning, you were able to get out of bed and start to get ready, right? And the information that it receives and is sent back out through the body to help us perform whatever we are doing. So I want to inform my audience on how complex the brain is and what it consists of with its functions. So what is everything for us, for our body too. So it's made up, what is the brain made up of? It weighs about 3 pounds within the average adult. It is about 60% fat, and the remaining 40% is a combination of water, protein, carbs, and salts. It is not a muscle itself, but it contains plenty of blood vessels and nerves that help us perform whatever we would want to do. That being said, so it is made up of gray matter and white matter, which is right here in the upper left corner. So the gray matter is primarily responsible for processing and interpreting information, while the white matter is information that is transmitted to the nervous system. So our brain is connected to our spinal cord, and it is in this right corner, and it sends off a whole lot of information through our neurons, receives a lot of it so that so the brain is able to process the information and we can do our tasks almost instantaneously. And then, so how does the brain work? It sends and receives chemicals and electrical signals throughout the body. And these electrical different signals control different processes. So our brain interprets each and every process, and it can make us feel tired, anxious, hungry, or just about any other emotion. But it's so complex that it consists of so many different areas. So on this diagram, it has our parietal, frontal, temporal, occipital, cerebellum, and our brainstem. And each of these all play their role in what we do every day. So some of the messages that are kept within the brain for memory, and then the others are relayed through the spine in a constantly to say, okay, take a step, take another step, put your foot in front of the other foot. It's just, you're able to do these things so instantly. And the functions of the brain, the three main are the cerebrum, the brainstem, and the cerebellum. And all of these have their own function. They all have their own complex system. So the cerebrum consists of, before, like in this diagram, the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobe, and they all have their roles to play. So the cerebrum, it's the largest part of the brain. It initiates and coordinates movement and regulates temperature. It enables our speech, judgment, thinking, reasoning, problem solving, emotions, and learning, as well as vision, hearing, touch, and other senses, because within the brainstem, you can have hearing, movement, you're responding with movement, being aware of environmental changes. And then the pons is important because it has your cranial nerves. So it is able to help us have a range of activities such as and then the last of the brainstem is the medulla, and it's essential to our survival. So it helps regulate our bodily activities. So it includes our heart rhythm, breathing, blood flow, and oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. It helps with reflexes such as our sneezing, vomiting, coughing, and swallowing. So again, like I said before, we're constantly using our brain, even though we may not even be acknowledging that, like in the medulla, how it's essential to our survival with maintaining our breathing and our oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. And then there is the cerebellum. So that function is to coordinate voluntary muscle movements and to maintain our posture. It can have so much information on what it does and how it functions. So from Johns Hopkins University, this is just the broad spectrum, but they dived into each area of the brain, looked at what it does, what it consists of, how it helps us. So like our frontal lobe, it helps personality characteristics, decision-making, and movement. So just that alone, you can study and see exactly how it helps a person with their personality and everything that they do, whereas the parietal lobe helps identify objects and maintaining where things are in like a spatial relationship. And with the occipital lobe, it's a back part of the brain, so it helps with us seeing. And again, explaining each part of what the brain is, how it works, and the function of the brain is really important, because we, I think, take advantage of how we don't acknowledge how much we use our brain and its complex nature. So I was able to talk about what the brain is and what it consists of and how we use it, but also the many functions that each set of the brain has. And I think we should all appreciate what we are capable of, what our brain is capable of doing for us. And yeah, that's it.
All right, Summer Stevenson, thank you very much. Those are my honor students from our summer class, and those students are very happy because now they are done with the class. That was the last assignment that they had. So congratulations to all three of you. Great job, everyone, and appreciate it very, very much. My class here on KSJE, our 8-week public speaking class this summer from San Juan College. And that is the program this morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me and my students. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, a little after 8 o'clock right here on KSJE Farmington.